I've got the top 20 charges that could impact your onboard cruise account coming up next. Hey everyone, it's Patrick from Oakland Travel. When you plan a cruise vacation, one of the most important budget items can be your onboard expense account. For the average cruiser, regardless of experience, the onboard account will almost certainly have a balance at the end of the cruise. So thinking ahead to what you might be charged for during the cruise can go a long way towards setting a budget for this part of your vacation expense. Based on my personal cruise history with Royal Caribbean, this is my list of the top 20 charges that could impact your onboard cruise account. This list is divided into two sections: the likely charges and the possible charges, depending on how you cruise. Number 1 is automatic service gratuities. This is always a hot button issue for experienced cruisers to prepay or not to prepay, to add a cash tip on top of the automatic gratuities added by the cruise line, etc. If you search on Facebook groups or cruise critic boards, you'll find many robust discussions. Using Royal Caribbean's gratuity policy as an example, it states, the automatic service gratuity is $14.50 US per person per day for guests in junior suites and below, or $17.50 US per person per day for guests in grand suites and above, applied to each guest's SeaPass account daily. My personal preference is just to let the system add the daily amount to my account, and then I typically give some cash at the end of the cruise as long as the service has been good. Number 2 is alcohol. This is the famous cruising debate about paying for drinks one at a time versus buying a beverage package. If you don't have a beverage package and decide to have a cocktail or 3 during your cruise, budgeting for this alcohol expense can be tricky. Cruise lines have been steadily increasing the prices on alcoholic drinks over the years because of the profit potential, so as the time of this video, a typical cocktail on a cruise ship is likely to cost around $13 before the automatic gratuity is added at checkout. A round of drinks for a couple on a cruise could easily be around $30. On my most recent Royal Caribbean cruise, after examining the expenses post-cruise, I spent $82 a day on average for alcoholic drinks. The total spent on alcohol for my cruise was about half what I would have spent for the drink packages for me and my wife, but we don't drink as much as we used to. Number 3 is specialty restaurants. One of the best reasons to take a cruise is to experience the gourmet food prepared by professional chefs, and the food served in the buffet and the main dining room is usually excellent regardless of the cruise line. To elevate your food experience on a cruise, a specialty restaurant is in order. This is another of the expenses that could be prepaid prior to the cruise, and more cruise lines are offering discounts to entice passengers to pre-book their specialty dining experience. Using Royal Caribbean again as an example, you have options to book at specific restaurants or a multi-night dining package. The per-person surcharge for specialty restaurants is typically under $50, and the cruise line planning website can help with budgeting for the possibility of a specialty dinner during the cruise. Number 4 is excursions. A good suggestion for cruise planning is to book popular excursions pre-cruise in the planning website. I can personally attest to going to the shore excursion desk during a cruise and trying to book an excursion only to be told that it already sold out. A good example of this would be the jet ski excursion at Labadee, Haiti. For some of the common excursions that aren't likely to sell out, such as a trip to the beach, it might make more sense to wait until you're on the cruise before committing to the expense. Like the specialty restaurants, the cruise planning website can provide cost estimates for your cruise budget. Number 5 is the spa. Spa treatments, especially on sea days, can be a hot commodity and may require booking pre-cruise to secure the desired date and time. The other consideration is that the spa department on the ship can often have sales with prices that are below the pre-cruise prices in the planner. The planning website can provide a good estimate for the cost for the spa services if you decide to wait until you get on the ship. One side note here, as I mentioned in previous videos on my channel, if you think you might want spa services during your cruise and you haven't booked them pre-cruise, you'll want to visit the spa as soon as you can on embarkation day to get the best availability and the possibility of sales made available for a limited time during the cruise. Number 6 is photos. Like the previously mentioned expenses, photos can be purchased pre-cruise on the planning website. Leading up to your specific cruise, the cruise lines will run sales on the planning website, and sale prices on the photo packages can sometimes provide meaningful savings over the cost if purchased on the ship during the cruise. There are considerations both for and against booking photo packages pre-cruise. For me personally, in the past, I've usually waited until the cruise to see how many photos were taken during the cruise, and then made any purchasing decision after inspecting the 8x10 printouts in the photo gallery. For my most recent cruise on the Adventure of the Seas, I went with the 20 photo package purchase pre-cruise during a sale, and it worked out nicely. The Adventure had moved away from displaying all the photos as 8x10 prints and instead used digital photo kiosks. Another nice feature was that I could actually download the digital photos during the cruise, which was a first. Number 7 is shopping on board. Most large cruise ships have an area of the ship that resembles a small shopping mall with a variety of stores. Some examples of what you might find on a ship in the stores would be handbags, cruise-related clothing such as t-shirts with the cruise line's logo, books, items for kids, souvenirs, high-end jewelry such as watches, and duty-free items such as perfume, cigarettes, chocolate, alcohol, and makeup. Some ships have high-end stores like Michael Kors, Kate Spade, Cole Haan, Trina Turk, and Hugo Boss. Electronics such as camera equipment and Apple products are a possibility, along with some cruise necessities such as memory cards. If you're an art lover, many large cruise ships have an art gallery where you can buy original works of art in addition to the art auctions that are common during a cruise. If you forgot to pack some toiletries, there's usually a general store on a large cruise ship that will carry a limited number of personal necessities such as razors, toothpaste, sunscreen, and over-the-counter medication and contact lenses. These items often sell with a higher markup, but it's better than nothing. Number 8 is soft drinks and bottled water. On most mass-market cruise lines, only certain beverages are included in the fares, such as tap water, basic coffee, tea, hot chocolate, milk, and some juices. Soda, sparkling water, juices like fresh orange juice, and smoothies are an additional charge if you haven't purchased a beverage package. Disney is one exception. It includes sodas during meals in the teen-only lounge and from select beverage stations. Sodas do cost extra at bars and lounges on Disney ships. On most cruises with a mass market cruise line, bottled water can range from $1.25 to $4.25 depending on bottle size. Soda starts around $2.50. Specialty waters like coconut water or vitamin water can be as high as $5. Energy drinks like Red Bull typically start at $5, and virgin cocktails, non-alcoholic beer, and smoothies can run around $5 to $7. Of course, prices vary by cruise line, can change at any time, and cruise lines will also tack on an automatic 15 to 20% gratuity to the bill. Number 9 is coffee. Brand name coffee and specialty coffees and lattes can run around $2 to $9 depending on type and size. One good option to consider when it comes to coffee is to see if your cruise line will offer a coffee card. Royal Caribbean usually offers one of these cards, and we purchase one for every cruise. It typically costs around $30 to $35 per person and entitles you to any 15 specialty espresso-based coffees throughout your cruise. My personal experience with this expense is that I'll usually get a coffee card from my wife, and then I'll get specialty coffees throughout the cruise as needed. Number 10 is arcade games. If you're cruising with children, another possible expense for your onboard account is arcade credits. These can also be purchased pre-cruise, and depending on the timing and if they're on sale in the cruise planner, can provide worthwhile savings over purchasing the credits on board during the cruise. A good option might be to purchase some credits pre-cruise and then see how quickly they're used up during the cruise and purchase additional credits as needed. Number 11 is room service charge. Room service on a cruise ship can come in handy in a variety of situations. Breakfast on a balcony, dinner in the stateroom because you're too tired to go to the main dining room, etc. Most of the food delivered to your stateroom is included with the cruise fare, but there are some exceptions and they differ depending on the cruise line. In addition to a charge for the food itself, there is usually a room service fee for the delivery of the food, and that fee does not replace the tip that is customary for the crew member delivering said food. Number 12 is specialty pastries and snacks. I added this one to the list because it's now a thing apparently. I had never seen this on a Royal Caribbean cruise prior to the Ovation of the Seas in 2019. The Cafe Promenade on that ship featured some pastries for sale in a display case. Normally, these have been included in the cruise, and you just told the crew member which one you wanted, kind of like the pizza at Sorrento's on a Royal Caribbean ship. The pastries for sale were only about $2 to $4 each and didn't appear to be anything special that would warrant the cost. Number 13 is the next cruise desk. On at least 2 previous Royal Caribbean cruises, we booked a future cruise at the next cruise desk on the ship and put down a small deposit to secure the booking. The deposit was usually $100 per person and was applied to the onboard account. The deals offered by the next cruise desk can provide some great savings, and they usually have some onboard credits for the future cruise and sometimes lower deposits depending on the sales. Number 14 is laundry services. I've used the laundry services on a Royal Caribbean cruise several times in the past and will definitely use it for our 14-night transatlantic cruise in 2022. The costs are nominal and we've always had really good results. If you're interested, you'll want to check with your stateroom attendant on the schedule of when he will pick up the clothes and when they'll be returned. Number 15 is Wi-Fi without a package. For some cruisers, disconnecting from the world is part of the vacation, so the idea of needing to connect to the internet is not at the top of the list. Fortunately, the cruise lines offer various ways to access the internet by charging for access by the hour or by the day. Most large cruise ships have some variation of an internet cafe or library that contains computers where you can sit down and access the internet to check email and such. Since so many people use their cell phones on cruises, it's also easy to purchase a data plan during the cruise and activate it on your cell phone. Number 16, some onboard activities are an additional cost. Examples would include classes taught by crew members during the cruise, the new roller coaster on Carnival Mardi Gras, bowling on an MSC cruise, etc. Number 17 is a tuxedo rental for men. Most of the major cruise lines offer a tuxedo rental service for the formal nights on a cruise. For Royal Caribbean, the reservation can be made pre-cruise on a special website. The cruise line will usually ask for very specific measurements that can be entered when making the reservation online. The tuxedo is tailored to these specifics and delivered to the room before you arrive on embarkation day or early on the first day of the cruise. The cost is not too bad either. For my 2021 cruise on the Adventure of the Seas, the rental package included shoes and black socks and was $117, and it was charged to my onboard account during the cruise. Number 18 is chips for the casino. If you feel like gambling during your cruise and didn't bring a lot of extra spare cash, most major cruise lines will let you go to the casino and get chips charged to your onboard account. Depending on the cruise and the ship, they may charge a small fee like a cash advance, but you'll have your chips for gambling. Number 19 is a babysitting fee. All major cruise lines offer some form of babysitting, but they can differ quite a bit in services offered and the cost. Here are some examples available pre-COVID before the pandemic shutdown. Carnival Cruise Line offered two types of babysitting. The first was kids under 2 years of age with limited availability and duration. Cost was listed at $6.75 per hour, plus a 15% gratuity per child. The second option was for kids ages 2 to 11. Group babysitting was available from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. with a cost of $6.75 per hour, plus a 15% gratuity per hour per child. Celebrity Cruises offered both group and in-cabin babysitting on its cruise ships. The group sitting was listed as 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. and open to ages 3 to 11 with a cost of $6 per hour per child. The in-cabin babysitting was available for up to 3 children from the same family with a cost of $19 per hour for 2 babysitters. Disney Cruise Line offered nursery babysitting for babies and toddlers 6 months to 3 years. The hours were typically from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. with a cost of $4.50 per half hour for the first child and $4 per half hour for any additional children in the same family. Royal Caribbean offered a few options for group babysitting. The first was from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. for ages 3 to 11 with a cost of $7 per hour per child. The second option they offered was from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., a group nursery babysitting service for kids at least 6 months old but under 3 years old with a cost of $6 per child per hour. Number 20 is medical facilities. This is one expense that you hope to never see on your onboard account. Any visit to the medical facility on a cruise ship can cost you, and it's next to impossible to find published fees for services offered in a cruise ship's medical facility. There can be an additional fee for after-hours doctor visits, either in the medical facility or if they come to you in the stateroom. Also, there can be fees if the doctor requires a nurse's assistant for your care. Simple medication like aspirin may be provided free of charge, but prescription drugs will likely have a markup over the retail price found back home on land. Depending on your age and overall health, the possibility of medical expenses on a cruise may be a good reason to consider travel insurance. And there you have it. That's my list of the top 20 charges that could impact your onboard expense account. If you found this video helpful or informative, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing and change that alert notification so that you're alerted every time I put up a new video or I start a new live stream.